Hmm. What's up, YouTube? You know, YouTube was a really cool thing. Something we didn't have back in the 70s and the 80s. Uh, Able to go back and see old stuff that I haven't seen in a long time. Very cool. Very cool. Anyway, kind of was watching some videos uh, for the last couple of nights and feeling kind of bummed out a little bit. You know why? Because I'm reminded that I'm never going to be in love again. I'm not allowing myself to be that vulnerable again. Now that is seriously fucked up, you know. That is that's fucked up on so many levels, on so many deep levels. Uh on a human level, spiritual level, all kinds of levels. Where a man has to feel like you have to protect yourself. You have to watch who you're getting involved with, and the old idea of what a woman is just gone now, just completely gone now. I know for a fact that I'm not getting married again. I don't care who comes along. That's just until the laws make things equal for men and women, and men don't have to put their uh, their freedom on the line by saying I do. All of their money and assets and everything, their soul on the line just because they are legally bonded with a female. Until that changes, I'm out of the marriage game. Too old for that anyway. It'd be nice, you know. I still think I can, you know, pull desirable women. You know, I just I'm tired, man. I'm tired of the whole relationship thing with women. Any woman, really. Now, I've never been in a relationship with a white woman because I've been attracted to black women all my life, but that's not an option anymore. Hell no. I was married for 20 years and to a black woman, and I went through hell. And I'm not doing that shit anymore. I refuse to ever compromise my soul and my life again like that. She could have been any race. It doesn't matter what race she is. I know black women, and what I'm seeing over the last, particularly the last 5 years or so, is something that is like a horror movie. Like a horror movie. Now, see, as you can see, I got a lot of gray. I'm I'm kicking 50 soon. I was a teenager back in the 70s, you know, late 70s. So I came of age pretty much in the early 80s. You know, that's when I was very sexually active. Late 70s, early 80s. And that's when I began my sexual life. You know, talking to women, having girlfriends, and all that. Uh, Things are so different now, man. Women are so different. And it's scary that my son is going to have to find, if not a wife, just a girlfriend, a companion from this group of modern women. And that's scary. I'm gonna have to teach him a lot. I'm teaching him now a lot of stuff. I'm teaching him to be careful, uh, what to watch out for. He's very young, but I think I have to start it off young, because I don't want him to get caught up in a trap, whether it be female trap or any other trap. I'm a father, and this is what fathers are supposed to do. They're supposed to raise their children with wisdom. And I think I have enough wisdom to share with them. So I would like to thank you for watching the videos, first of all. And I'd like to share with you some, I think, is some wisdom that I've acquired over the course of my life. Uh, Let me tell you what I think is really going on. Now, I hear a lot of videos. I hear a lot of men bashing black women. And a lot of the stuff they say is true. It's very true. Very, very true. Black women, no offense, but they're right. They're right a lot of the things they say. But let me give it more perspective on it from an older perspective. So if you don't want to listen to those young niggas or young men, give me a chance to try to explain it. What that you may not know because of, or the young men who are making these videos may not know because of their youth. Well, I'll try and get to the point here. I remember back in the early 1970s, I was living in the projects in Jackson, Mississippi. And I remember when the role of welfare picked up in the early 70s. I was like in this 4th, 5th grade. And excuse me, I started to hear a lot of women saying phrases like, I don't need no man. And I was old enough to understand what that meant. I grew up without a father. Most of my friends didn't have fathers. There was only like one household in the whole projects that had a mother, a father, and 2 daughters. Now, I'm going to come back to them in a minute, but let me talk about the other stuff. Here we are, had like lots of boys. None of them had fathers. They only had mothers. And these mothers had daughters too. And they were all on welfare. We were on welfare for like 4 months, but my mom refused to get on welfare and stay on it. She saw it as just a temporary thing because she had some kind of pride like that. She just refused to get on welfare, so she would just work her ass off, and we got by on that because she did not want to establish the welfare mentality in her children's mind, my mind, or my brother's mind, or my sister's mind. So we just, we went by on that. And I remember being just a short term on welfare where we were just really desperate while she was going to college, and working. But for the most part, you had a lot of women on welfare, always talking about their checks. And a lot of young girls were getting pregnant, and they were talking about their checks too. Getting in the welfare line and talking about it like it's going to college. Yeah, I'm going to get my check. I'm having my baby. I can get a check now. It was a lot of that, It was the early 70s, right? Consequently, something else occurred that is relevant to the story, okay? So bear with me. In the early 70s, Nixon came up with a program to get votes. The War on Hunger. Now, I wasn't sure if it was Nixon or Johnson who started that, but I've learned later that it was Nixon who started the War on Hunger to get votes, right? Because food prices were very high in the early 70s. And so he went to the government went to food manufacturers, and they came up with processed food, high fructose corn syrup, all that WIC food, powdered eggs, that genetically modified food, government cheese, all that shit was really starting to kick into gear in the early 70s. So, a lot of women started getting government food, and government programs were like flourishing, to go get food. Go get this cheap ass food that was just really cheap, unhealthy crap. The baby formula with heavy doses of high fructose corn syrup and all of that. Now that's relevant to the story because around about 1978 or so, you started to see the effects of it. You started to see young women who are 9 and 10 and 12 years old looking like 18-year-olds with full breasts and big round asses and full like looking like women. And of course, when a young woman looks like that and she's into puberty and she's getting a lot of sexual attention, it sexualizes them very early. So it became a big cycle of early sexualization and the desire to have a child to get a check. And since the government was mandating that no man be involved, black women happily obliged and said, I don't need no man. My daddy, the government, is going to take care of me and mine. I'm going to get my checks, and I don't need no man. And of course, the men, they just want to get laid. Some of them, yeah, that's a natural thing. They just want to get laid. But, even if they did have the inclination to say, hey, I want to be in that father's life, I want to be a father, the women rejected them. No, you cannot be in my child's life, because if you come and you try to stay with me as a father, I'm going to not get my checks anymore. So you have to, if you're going to be a father, you be a father over there. Go to your house, go over there and be a father. Me and say, okay, fuck it. Let you get your checks. Go ahead. I saw that from the early 70s all the way through till now. Well, until I moved out of the projects, rather. And it just only got worse. And then crack came along. When crack came along, now throw in crack in this mix. You have hypersexualized. Now this crack came in the early 80s to 85, 80. Just strong around about 85 where I lived. Now that's a good 12 to 15 years of what I just explained. You get accelerated sexualized women or young girls. You have a generation of boys who are starting to come of age, who did not have fathers, who are also being hypersexualized, wanting pussy, wanting to get laid without any consideration of the consequences. And you had mothers encouraging the young women to, by example, have you some babies. Even if they didn't obviously state it, they were having babies and they were getting checks. And then you would start to see a girl, 14, 15, 16, have babies so she could get her check and live with the mother. And there's a whole household full of check recipients with no fathers, no men in there. Throw crack in the mix. So all hell broke out when crack came. It was like Michael Jackson Thriller, zombies running around at night. And throw in the concept of being a real nigga. Now, that's on the man side. So you have women who are totally sold out their man. Totally sold men out. For of course, no man can compete with the state. The state is stronger than any man, especially any black man. And women are attracted to power. So, of course, these sisters went with the state out of ignorance of what they were doing to a whole generation of not only black girls, but black boys as well. And so, continue on. Back in the early 80s, back in the mid 80s or so, all of that shit that they were that the government had the food industries create for poor programs, it got transitioned over into fast food programs. Now, because McDonald's and Wendy's and all the fast foods chains said the same thing. Wow, if we use that cheap shit that the government had that company create without using real meat, real bread, real ingredients, we can save shitload of money, and make mega profits. So what only cost McDonald's, what used to cost McDonald's, let's guess, 25 cents to make a hamburger, a regular hamburger. Now it only costs 5 cents because all the ingredients were cheap, and they can keep and stay in a warehouse forever until they're needed, and they're hyper stimulants, which will also increase your appetite for eating them, and won't turn your appetite off when you're full, so you just guzzle shit down, and plus you supersize it to give them a heavy dose of it. Now you got a lot of fat, hypersexualized black women who are also being neutral, don't have are not getting as many nutrients as their body requires. So because they're eating artificial and cheap food. So you have women who have no ties with, no emotional, spiritual bonding with men. They're also on chemical food, fake food, that is fucking up their systems all the way, their hormonal system, everything, making them develop faster. The government is destroying their willpower and taking the incentive to go and struggle and work and increase and improve, to teach their children to do the same by giving them checks really easy for fucking votes. Hey, vote for the Democratic Party. We'll give you this goddamn check. We'll keep them coming. Just keep them coming. Keep the checks coming. That destroyed black folks, as it's still doing. Well, it's a self-perpetuating machine now, but that's when it got started. And you have to be an older person to see that. So that when the younger people come on the internet and they're talking about certain things, they're telling the truth. They're telling the truth about the situation. It's just that you actually need some perspective of when it started. What was the originating? When was the originating period? What was the genesis of what's going on? Now, I'm not saying that the early 70s was the genesis, because you still had some fucked up shit before that. But this is what I was personally aware of, that I personally witnessed myself. I was a conscious young man enough to see, wow, this is what's going on. Along with a lot of other social experiments that were worked out on us. We, black people, are the guinea pigs of America. Everything that any wicked parts of the government or corporation they want to try off on a mass scale, they try it off. They do trial runs on black people first. Whether it's cheap food, whether it's weapons, whether it's the divisiveness between men and women. And I'll put it this way. Everything that you want to know what America's going to look like in 5 to 10 years, look at black people now. Because we have everything a few years ahead of mainstream America, or white America, or other America. Because they tried out on us first. If it's crack came, 5, 10 years later, it's methamphetamines for white folks. They know how to get white people, turn them into zombies and trash at an accelerated rate. Because trust me, it has nothing to... Listen. You listening? It has nothing to do with race now. Racism is an old idea that has played out amongst the big higher level people. They don't give a fuck about any race. It's all bloodline and family groups, associations, and families. The race part was only used as a thing, as a ploy to just, okay, we're going to use this section of white people, called the middle class or executive left class or the administrative class, to keep all the other people below them, women and minorities. But now, they've switched it around. Now, because of the death of the industrial age, because there's no need for strong motherfuckers anymore in the workforce. Everything is automated. Plus, there's no manufacturing in the United States anyway, and it's leaving most Western nations anyway. So everything is automated. Hell, we can let bitches do that because women are more obedient than men. Men will ask, "Hey, why do I got to do that shit? I ain't doing that shit. Fuck that." Women would say, "Okay," a lot faster than men. In fact, that plays into the whole thing. It's not just black men being broken down. We were the experiment to get it going, by the way. It worked on black people. Now let's do like every other experiment they do, whether it's food or social stuff or just experimentation, social engineering. It worked on black people. Now let's break this program and expand it nationwide. So fuck, we going global on this motherfucking shit. Now we're seeing white men being put in the same boat that black men are. So it's not just black women versus black men. It is white women versus white men. It is all Western women versus all Western men. And the state is on the woman's side. The state is using the woman to be the administrator, the watchdog. Gave her a little power and said, "You are a leader now. You don't need a man." That same shit that they were telling black people. You don't need no man. Now white women are, "Hey, we don't need no fucking men." Add to that the food experiments. Now, remember what I said about the food, WIC and all that fake shit that they were giving us? They gave us cancer and all this fucking diabetes and shit. Now look at our diabetes rate now and the obesity rate. And when I told you that they expanded it nationwide, now look at the nationwide obesity rate. A lot of fat fuckers around. And it's not totally their fault. It's out of ignorance that they're eating this shit that makes them want to eat more. It's like crack. You know what it boils down to is we human beings, Americans, are processed people. We have processed mentalities. Our way of thinking is processed. There are very few people with natural minds anymore. That's why everybody sounds the same and have cliches. Speaking cliches. Use the same fucking words and saying the same things. Most people you talk to, they're the same motherfucker. The same people saying the same shit. Not an original thought out there. Some, but they're very few and far between. Everything is dead, y'all. Music is cheap. There's no soul in the music anymore. There's no nutrition in the food anymore. There's no love in the relationships anymore. It's some, not a lot. It's narrowing down. It's narrowing down. We are becoming engineered and processed human beings, able to be flipped on a switch. Bloop. We want you to be this way now. Bloop. We this way. We want you to be this way now. Hey, we euphoric now. We want you to be pissed at that now. We're pissed at that. Or we want you to be happy about this now. We want you to accept this now. We accept that. In order for it to be that way, they had to break down white men, because white men were the last. I'm telling you, you don't believe me? Think about it. White men, white males, middle class, or down to blue collar white males, were the last hope for this thing ever going right again. Now take racism out. Fuck that. You can't think that small. You have to think what the powers that be, why they would do that. Because white males who want to be free, who used to being free, feel, hey, it's my birthright to be free. I'm a white man. Would fight. Would be the last one, the only one with the ability to fight the powers that be. So they had to chip away and break their spirit through the white woman. Through laws that give a white woman the power to crush his ass. Through the media. By having them look dumb over generations. Look how long the Simpsons been on. And look how long white men have been portrayed as stupid. Generation. Look how they've made boys at school into pussies. There's no fighting. There's no natural aggression being allowed to express itself. I mean, think about it. When I was in elementary school back in the 70s, all the way through high school up until the early 80s, boys they didn't encourage fighting. They didn't like fighting. But a fight was just a fight. And they didn't make a big deal out of it. They just say, stop fighting. Why are you guys fighting? If it gets too out of hand, we're going to suspend you for a couple of days. But in that transaction, you learn as a boy, as a young man, your rank, where you fit at. And if you're here, and this is the alpha boy, you have to think and tactically to work your way up to you have to make alliances. You had to break alliances. You had to challenge. You had to rise up to get to a certain level if you wanted to be at the top or near the top. That's what being a man is. A man that's the basic of why we have the logical thinking. Now in the olden times, I guess, or in more primitive societies, or anywhere really, that's how men are able to function and create civilization. That thinking is what gave the world what we have now. Thinking ahead, planning, tactfully, thinking, planning, striving, having the balls to go get that. All that's being thrown away now in school system. Now everybody's the same, everybody's nice, and everybody's sweet. If you say anything aggressive, something's wrong with you. You must be crazy as hell, son. We're going to report you. No, we're going to throw you out of school if you do anything we don't want you to do. Because you know what? You have to become a good corporate worker. You have to work under women one day. And you have to do what these bitches say. Oh, you're not? Well, you can't go to school. And you damn sure can't work in corporate America. So they force our sons to be half men, half male. Whereas women, we encourage you to go do that. Go get your shit, girl. Have it all. Do that. And they encourage women to take the role of men because they can control women better. Because women have group thinking. Men tend to have more individual. Men think group in a group, but it's a more individualistic synergy within a group. Whereas women tend to think collectively a lot more than men do. They want to fit in and they're competitive in that way a lot more than men. In area, you know that. Now, of course, not all, but as a general mass, as a general rule, that's women and that is men. And the powers that be is taking advantage of all of that. They're taking advantage of let me tell you what they did. And I'm going to end this soon. They've taken our natural inclinations, our natural love, our natural creativity, our natural thinking about the universe, our natural understanding of nature, our natural drives, and made us totally ignorant of them just so they can use them against us. And it's working. We're fucked. We're fucked. Because there ain't a damn thing that one voice or two voices or even like 50,000 voices on YouTube or any songs can change. We are against the machine, man. The fucking Matrix. And yeah. In order for me to get that, I would have to change your mind with some magical words. I would have to be magical, poetic, and to sink into your brain what I'm saying might make sense. I hope to be that one day, but I don't know if I'm that good yet. I'm not that good yet. Because I'm sure some of you are cussing now and writing crazy shit now. Not understanding what I'm saying, and some of you totally disagreeing. Yeah, that's right. That doesn't make it what I'm saying not true. Because I'm a black man, that does not mean I don't know what I'm talking about. Because I'm an older man, that does not mean that I'm ignorant of what's going on today. I may know more about it because I've been paying attention, extreme attention, since I was 4 years old, back in the early 70s, late 60s. So that's all I wanted to say. This was a spontaneous video. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Let's start a dialogue. Uh, I will be glad to respond to some of your messages. And just think about it, y'all. Think about it. There's a natural you and there's an artificial you. Learn to get in contact with the natural you. The natural you knows what's right. The natural you knows what the answers, what to do. The natural you knows how to love yourself and others. The natural you knows, hey, that's fucked up right there. That's going against something in me. And go with that. Develop that, and it'll get stronger. And the artificial you, the fake you, the synthetic you, the processed you will start to diminish in its strength and its grasp and its hold on you, on us. But maybe it's too late. So maybe it's too late. I think it is. So we gotta wait till we go through this shit storm and see what comes out on the other side. Hope I'm still around. And I pray for my safety, my son and my daughter, the safety and the sanity of my children, because they're gonna have to live in this mess. Thank you.